Welcome to the Sparkle Bomb Coach podcast and YouTube channel, where we bring fun and magic back to your life and business. I'm your host, Kate Decker, aka the Sparkle Bomb Coach, and I help women to connect with their soul and intuition, tap into their desires, and magnetize everything they desire in life, business, and relationships by turning on their inner sparkle. I'm so excited for you to be here. So let's sparkle! Beautiful. Welcome to another episode of the Sparkle Bomb Coach podcast and YouTube channel. So today I am bringing you another episode, another replay of the amazing Sparkle Summit that I hosted at the end of 2019. So this episode is with Amy Allchurch, and we're talking all things coming from fear and running her business as a side hustle to being this incredible magnetic mermaid vibe entrepreneur in total alignment with who she is, being mama of three. That is 3 kids. And being incredibly successful. And if you love this episode, if you love this replay, please take a screenshot, tag me at Decker Coaching, tag Amy. All of her information is inside of the show notes or in the description. And don't forget that these are replays from a live training. So especially if you are listening to the podcast, if there are some parts that don't make any sense, that's because they were cut out to protect people who won prizes and certain names. So I love you, and let's dive in. Let's sparkle.
We are live. I love it. So hello everyone. Oh, sorry about that. We are so excited to be here today for the Sparkle Summit Day 6. Like, holy guacamole. What has happened? How is it already Day 6? I am so excited to be here with all of you, and also I have a very special human, well, 2 of them with us today. And before I introduce you to them, I'm gonna say them, I want to say hi to everyone, and also I want to know, have you watched day 1, 2, 3, 4? What are we? It's like day 6, right? That's what I said. So let us know in the comments. Have you watched the previous days? What was your favorite so far? Are you wearing something sparkly? Because we are doing this thing. So are you wearing something sparkly? Today, I will make a confession first. I thought we were having the interview 30 minutes ago. So then I happened to have 30 extra minutes. I put sparkles on, I curled my hair. So there you go. Maybe I should do that on purpose. But as you guys are hopping on, just say hi so we know that you are here. If you have any questions as we go along, drop them below. We will be happy to answer anything that comes up. And now I am so excited to introduce you, Amy Allchurch. So Amy Allchurch, for those of you who don't know her for whatever reason, that would be strange to me. I'm just kidding. Amy Allchurch is a human design business coach, and she specializes in energetic alignment. She's also mom of 3, and one of her babies you can see with us today. So she's like a full up mama, and still she successfully operates her business as a projector. And if you don't know what is a projector, we're going to definitely talk about that today. But like, let me tell you, it's incredibly impressive, and she is killing it, and she's glowing, and she's insanely amazing, and she is here today with us to share her story, share her expertise, and her so welcome. I'm so happy that I have you here.
Thank you so much, the gorgeous Kate Decker. Thank you for having us, and thank you for having Hendrix too. I'm so excited to be part of the Sparkle event. It's incredible. You're just like, I absolutely love you. So I'm so happy to be here.
I love you too. And like, one of the things that we are doing during the Sparkle Summit is that we are being, well, obviously honest, vulnerable, raw, and sharing way too much information. So that's what we're going to do today. And one of the things that I want to tell before we dive into your story is that actually the way how Amy and I met and connected is kind of funny because I was on a call with our mentor, Melanie, and I was just like saying like, I just found this thing in human design. I am a projector. I have no idea what it means. I feel so limited. I don't understand. And the next day she tags me in like your projector power paradigm course. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. And I messaged you like, I didn't even read the description. I was just like, Melanie said I should do this. I'm going to do this. And I messaged you and I signed up and it was incredible. And then after that, we are like part of our mastermind together. So like we're coached by our coach. And we're like, I'm doing your Pinterest management. And I just think so much fun how when we each step into our own power, how we can like, you know, value each other's leadership. And oh my gosh, it's just so funny how like this works.
It's the best because yeah, exactly what you said. When you own your power, other people are like, ooh, can you do this? Or like, I want to join this, because it's really that like ownership and almost that radical responsibility of like, I'm good at that. And I'm not good at Pinterest. I don't know anything about it. You're owning that. So like, please help me. Like, I'm happy to sign with you, please.
Yeah. And I was definitely not good at being projector before the projector power paradigm. So just that.
Now you're in your element.
Yeah. So, okay. Everyone is saying hi. Kelly's saying hi, ladies. I'm so excited for this one. Got some sparkles on and all caught up on the days. This has been incredible. Wow, Kelly. That is amazing. Michelle says, been here every day, painting my nails sparkly. I've loved all the love. Oh my gosh. I love this. I love this, ladies. This is perfect.
I love it. I put on some sparkly earrings. That's like, I'm pretty basic. So I was like, what sparkle can I put on?
You have that like mama glow. You are glowing.
Oh, thank you.
You're the most glowing mom ever. Seriously. Okay. Lara G says, morning from New Zealand. Hi, I have been watching. I'm not wearing anything sparkly, but I'm working with so many sparkly materials. That all counts. Okay. So perfect. Let's dive in. I'm so excited, you guys, to meet Amy and know everything about her, because she is seriously like, I just admire you so much. But before you became this incredible, glowy, super mom, super business owner, who were you? Who was Amy Allchurch before she started her business, before she was insanely successful? Who were you?
Oh, thank you. So yeah, I mean, I've been a teacher for 10 years. So this would actually be my 10th year. So I was a teacher of elementary school. And yeah, I was really like, I loved teaching, but I always had this feeling, you know, this urge with like, there's something more. So I was very like reserved, very quiet. If you don't know anything about projectors, we really do kind of stand back, and not just stand back, but kind of get like overseen. So I felt very overseen a lot of my life. And just kind of like rode with that. I was like, oh, you know, like, yeah, I have this passion or desire to do more, but like, nah, like not really, like, it's not in my cards, you know, it's not, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not as powerful. I'm not as like energetic. I don't know what to do. So I was very like this internal, you know, pull, like tug of war, where it was like, I want to, but like, I can't. And then I have 3 kids. So I had my first daughter, and that was really the beginning of like my entrepreneur, like journey, I would say, because during my mat leave with her, I started like a fitness boot camp for moms. And I was like, oh, this is so fun. Like I was just lit up, like so lit up and like so excited with what I was doing. And then it just continued to evolve from there into network marketing. And then we moved. And then I was like, you know what? I need like a life coach to figure this out, because I know that there's more, and like, I'm ready to follow it now. So yeah, that was like a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago. And here I am. Literally, yeah, 2 years ago. So I was on my mat leave with my second daughter, Lucy. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm hiring a business coach. She literally was 6 months. It was like 2 years ago now. And I was like, I'm hiring a life coach. And Alex Crothers, who is on the online space too, she was my life coach. And I was just like, I don't know why, but I'm doing it. Like, I'm going for it. I also wanted to get out of the house and like allow myself to do something for myself. And yeah, that was 2 years ago. And here we are now.
Oh my gosh. You just blew my mind. I literally thought it was like 5 years ago or something. Seriously, like you are blowing my mind. So you guys if you are here and you're watching, and hi Brianna. Oh my gosh, Brianna is in Bali and she is so
yeah. You're, oh my gosh, mermaid vibes. Go live it up for us.
So, but like I am seriously mind blown because like now if there's someone watching who is like, I am a mom and I cannot do this and it's gonna take a long time because I have kids, you just like literally blew that out of the window, that if we decide to take all of our limitations away and change the perspective, and obviously everyone is different, but like it does not have to, it's not a rule that it takes time, that it's more difficult, that it's impossible. And wow, I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh my gosh.
I love being impressed by people, and I'm totally impressed by you right now.
Oh, thank you. And it's so funny because we were talking before and I was like, you're gonna have to ask me questions. Like I'm like really bad about talking about myself, and I forget that I was like, oh yeah, that was literally 2 years ago. It's so crazy. So thank you.
Okay, so you just had this like nudge, like I'm gonna hire a life coach because there's more, and I'm sure that there are so many women who are out there and like, are thinking the same thing, like something is off. Hi Julia, hi Tiffany. So what helped you to choose your first life coach? Was it random? Did you follow like your intuition? Like what helped you with that?
Yeah, very intuitive. So we actually went to high school together, but I lived, Ben and I moved away for a while, kind of around Toronto area, if you're from Canada, or know about Canada. So it was around Toronto. And then we, right before our second daughter, we moved back to my hometown, and I was following her obviously just on Instagram and stuff. And she was really owning her space as an intuitive life coach. And I was like, oh, I just loved everything she was saying all the time, and like just really connected with her. And then just like we met for coffee one day to talk about her programs and stuff and what she had to offer. And like just immediately I was like, done. Like she's like, are you sure? Do you want to think about it? I was like, no, like we're good. Let's go. When can we set up our first meeting? So yeah, it was very intuitive, and it was very like, just let yourself trust yourself. Like, I have no idea what this is. I have no idea. Like, it's all very abstract, especially like intuitive life coaching. Like there's no like, this is what we follow, right? It's very dependent on you. So I was like, just go for it and trust her. And I had, a really good feeling about her and what she was doing. And everything has been very intuitive in my life and business. And if we go into human design, I'm a splenic authority for anyone that knows about that. So it makes sense as to why.
Yeah, I'm a splenic authority too. So I love that. So, okay. So you had this meeting with this person you were following online, and it just felt really good, and and you just made a decision, but like making a decision as a mom, when you know that like you have kids, you have responsibilities, you were on maternity leave, right? And then like obviously like that can be scary for a lot of people financially. So like how did you explain that to your husband, if you did? And how did like okay. So you didn't. That's good. So how did you like justify that for yourself financially as a mom? I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. So first of all, I knew that like, again, going back to like this urge, like it wasn't just like, I'm just going to do this for fun. It was like, I know I need to do this in order to figure out what my passion is and to pull it out of me. So I knew in the long run, eventually I would make some money. Right. But it was just very like, I know it will come. So again, a lot of the trust with it. And then it was really like, in order for me to do this, I need support. Like, again, going back to like very like trusting my projector energy. I didn't know it at the time, but it was very like, I know that if I'm going to do this, I have 2 kids at the time. I need support in order to do it. I'm not going to be able to just figure this out in my spare time. Like it needs to be like a structured, we are focusing on this, let's go. So yeah, I mean, it was like the justification of like me as a mom being the happiest self that I can possibly be, the most thriving and fulfilled self. I know that I'm going to make my kids the happiest they could ever be. So that was a really big factor in it. And then also the trust that like, these are steps that you need to do in order to create a business, right? Like never are you making money before you have a business, right? Like never just like, oh, I've already made all the money I need, now I'm going to invest in this. It's like you invest and then you build. So also knowing that, and then yeah, it was just like, I need to do this in order to be happy, in order to feel really good about myself. And then I'm going to be able to give my kids that much more out of life.
Oh my gosh, I totally love how you like rephrase it for yourself in your head, because I know that for so many people it's actually the opposite. Like, if I'm going to invest in myself right now, that means I'm taking away from something or someone. And one of the things that I was actually sharing in my story is that I wished when I was a kid that my parents did something for themselves, because all of that unhappiness made me like even more unhappy. And it's such a huge point. I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And
So,
to know that, like, as a mom, you need support, right? Like, again, you can't just like figure this out. Like, you don't have spare time. So like, you need to actually like decide that, like, no, I'm going to go with this, and then have people that like are guiding you and leading you, so that you're not picking up all the pieces, because you're picking up all the pieces of everything else, you know?
you know what? I love that you said that also, because you were basically like buying yourself more time. And I just realized that because I like wasn't a mom, not that there's a reason, but like it just seemed that I have all of this freedom and all of this time. I spent sometimes so much more time like not figuring it out, because I like was like, oh, I have all this time, so I can just like wobble around. But then that energy gets so soggy and so like just not motivating, and it's just like
Yes, totally.
okay, so we've got this. You were a teacher, you just like, had a baby and like all of this, and then you decided, I'm gonna have a life coach, I'm gonna figure out what I want to do. Well, from there, how did you come across with human design?
Yeah. So from there, I actually hired business coaches. So then I had this blend of business coaches and life coach, who are actually Jacqueline and Robin. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Together we rise.
Together we rise, full circle. So yeah, I was like, okay, I need business coaches now, because now I want to like actually do what I feel confident to do. And then from that, I was like, I know that life and business need to come together, because so much of my energy mindset work was being very separated from the business side of things, right? And as you know, or anyone knows, that as you're growing a business, I want to say like 90% of it is mindset energy work, and like the 10% is the strategy, is like the actual doing of it. So I was like, these need to come together into one, like that's what I'm going to do. So I started doing life and business coaching. And then from there, human design fell into my lap. Like literally I was on a run, I think, and I listened to some random podcast. Like I can't even tell you what it was that I listened to. And they were talking about human design. I was like, oh my God, like this literally just changed my life. Like I'm pretty sure I'm a projector. So I went home, I looked it up, and obviously sure enough, I was a projector. And from there, I just was like, I need to like fully dive deep into this. And at this point in my business, I just started making money. And I think I had like my first client. I came out and started talking about intuitive and empath, and very much like a projector, but not knowing what it was. And then I had a client, and I had like a mini little group that I was running. And then human design fell into my lap. And then I just started playing with it myself. Like I was just like, I need to become my full projector self. Like, what is this? Let me do it. So I started learning all the things, embodying, integrating, and then finding out that my kids were manifesting generators. So just like our family dynamic. And I just studied and studied and studied and became obsessed with it. And then I started integrating it into my own coaching. And I was seeing the shift in the income that I was receiving and how I was showing up as a projector without talking about human design. So it's like, oh, wow, like this really does work. The more I lean into being me, a projector, the more impact I'm having on people, the higher my income is becoming naturally, and I'm feeling way better. So I started integrating it into my coaching, my one-to-ones, without them knowing. So I just like asked them for their details. They had no idea. And then they skyrocketed. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Like done deal.
Magic.
Yes, I am becoming completely certified in this. I need to like actually have all of the facts. Like this isn't something that like you can just like play around with and give misinformation, or like, I think it's this. Like, no, like this is what it is. And it's either going to change someone's life, or it's going to create more resistance for them. So I took a course, fully certified. I'm actually a level 1, level 2 reader, plus business, VG5, which is business and human design. So, and then I finally, like 1 year ago, like last November, I joined Melanie's mastermind, and I was like, I think I want to like come out with this human design stuff and like say it to the world. And then I did it, and everything changed since then.
Oh my gosh. Okay, there's so many things. And obviously for those of you who are watching and you're like, I don't understand this human design thing, we're gonna get to that, and we're gonna like Amy is going to explain this a little bit more, and I'm gonna ask her the questions to do so. But I am just so fascinated by how people's stories go, and the fact that like you were like on a run or something and you're listening to a podcast and that changed your life. Actually, yesterday I had Viola here, and the first time I've heard about Viola was from a podcast. And then like, it's just for anyone who's watching, if you feel like everything that you're doing makes zero sense, or some of the things that you're putting out there that are not impacting someone, sometimes it impacts someone's life completely and you don't even know.
Oh, that is the most truest statement ever. Like, yeah, like literally, you're right. Like my life was changed because of that, because I listened to a podcast. Like what?
Yes. So everything comes together every time, full circle. And the fact that like Jacqueline and Robin were like your business coaches, so those are two incredible ladies who are also part of our mastermind. It just goes to show that, you know, sometimes like people want to start our coaching and they're like, oh, there's not enough space, the market is oversaturated, there's like this or that. Like, it's not true. There's just abundance, and that's it.
Yes,
for all of us.
And allow yourself to evolve too. Like their business is completely different now than what it was then, or how they're coaching. So like, again, like don't get so stuck on like, what am I going to be, or how am I going to do it, or what am I going to say? Like in 3 months from now, like I love evolution and like changing all the time. Like let yourself play, you know, let yourself play in your business and your interests.
And following the next right step, whatever feels good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So now I think would be a really great time to explain a little bit more, like for someone who has never heard of human design before. I know that it's very complex, but if you could give like the simplest answer, like what is it?
Yeah, so it's your energetic DNA. So all of our souls, before we're even born, have been gifted with like a mission in this life and how we're meant to do it. So there's certain energies in our body, which would be like the chakras, but we in human design, we have 2 extras. And we want to be operating out of those energies, which are like our power. And so much of our centers can end up being very conditioned. So meaning we're trying to work out of centers that are not correct for us, or to do things in a way that creates a lot of resistance or hustle. And then there's these 5 energy types that we have, which is like basically like it's us, how we're meant to be moving, like our vehicle, how we're meant to be operating and showing up in the world. And that would be like a manifester. So manifester is the only type that's here to initiate. They like have a creative idea. They're like, I'm going to go make it happen. Boom. But most of our world is conditioned to be like, be a manifester. You want something to happen, go make it happen, like now, instead of leaning back and trusting. Then there's generators, manifesting generators, and they make up 70% of the population, and they are the workers. So they get confused because like they're here to work and do and really follow what's exciting and lights them up. But then they try to initiate like the manifester, and it gets them into like a whole lot of like trouble. And then we are projectors. So we're about 20% of the population, and we don't have an energy system in us where we're like, go, 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 meant to work. We actually need a lot of rest. We need a lot of self-care, a lot of play, a lot of just like downtime. And we're very powerful by working in like 4 to 6 hours a day. So we're highly efficient. We're leaders, guides, and people that like see what other people can't see. So we're like looking into the other. And then there's reflectors, who are very, very, very rare. And they actually
know too.
I know. They're like coming out of like everywhere in my group too. I'm like, this is so fun. But they're super rare. They're like less than 1% of the population. So they actually just reflect everybody else. So they don't have any of their own like things filled in of power to tap into. They're like completely they're like mirroring whoever they're around.
That is so powerful. Okay, so I'm going to look at these comments because I see it popping. Hi, everyone. So Daniel says, human design has changed my life. Ours too. And Michelle just found out that she was a projector, and it's been so eye-opening. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So glad.
And then Danielle is a 3/5 manifester. And Lara G says, hey, Amy, I am interested in where you studied human design. Was it an online course?
Yeah, so I actually did it through the International School of Human Design, and it was an online course. And there's not a lot of like in-person courses. This was over 4.5 months, especially for my business one, and they are like very in depth, and like human design can be very heavy and very dry. I started before I took my courses. I read a couple books. One is like a huge textbook. And then I was like, I need to like put all of the pieces together in a very structured way. And that's why I wanted to get certified.
Yes. And I absolutely love that you said that, because human design is really, really complex. And one of the things that I love and appreciate about you so much is that like, you know, all of the things, but you make it so simple for all of us. Like, as I was in your projector power paradigm, like it was so easy for me to understand, not just like technically, like this is what it is, but like this is how it actually applies to life. There's someone who's like, you know, does not necessarily want to be certified in that. I feel like it's so much more valuable to actually go to someone who understands it and is using it over and over again in real life, in a real business, than just like a textbook. Because like for me, like I have right now no desire to get certified in that. And if I had to dive into all of that stuff, like it would be just too much. And as a projector, I don't have that energy for that.
Yes, totally. And I'm a 5/1, so the one in me is like obsessed with learning. But so yeah, thank you for saying that too. So if you're wanting to work with somebody that is talking about human design, I would look to see if they're certified, et cetera, because it's easy to integrate it into your own life and to really like play with it. But it's really hard to oversee somebody else's type and all of the little pieces that go together. Because it is like the holy grail, right? Like of somebody's energy, and everybody is so different. Just because you're a projector doesn't mean we're the same. There's so many differences in there. So yeah, if you want to like play with it in your own life, like go for it and try to understand it in a way that like is easy for you to digest. But if you're really wanting to like read people and stuff, definitely get certified.
Yeah, I love that. So when you first like started, you know, playing around with your own human design, how did it feel?
It felt amazing and really hard, because it felt so good to kind of have like the permission to just like do as I always felt was right for me, you know, and to like become that and not have like the guilt associated with it, like taking breaks or not being around people as much, or to like be aware that if I go to like a wedding event, like I'm probably going to be super tired the next day, and to just give myself more of what I needed. But at the same time, it also felt really hard because our world is not created to help you thrive like that, right? It's very structured. It's very, this is the right way, that's the wrong way. So I felt it was really like, well, how do I say no to things, you know, or how do other people aren't going to understand this, or, you know, how do I still be a quote unquote good parent while being a projector and not having all of the energy to do all of the things with my kids. So yeah, it was very like liberating and freeing, and also very like scary and hard of like, how do I show up as a projector and shift my world instead of like expecting the world to shift for me.
That makes absolute sense. And so I know that like before you came out of this shell of like, you know, like really owning your human design, there was a lot of fears. And I would love to ask you, because like how did you went from like being scared and having this as a hobby to like fully owning it online? Because like you own it, and how was that transition?
Yeah, so it was even like when I first said, I actually shared this on my podcast today, but like when I first came out talking about human design a year ago, I was like petrified. I was like, people are going to judge me. They're going to think I'm crazy. Like, what is this girl talking about? And like not want to work with me, or just be like, you're a weirdo, you know, and not get it. So I was really, really scared to even start to talk about it. And again, having that support. So being a part of a small mastermind where I shared that, and they're like, just do it, you know, like go out there. Like, this is fascinating. This is so cool. And I think this is going to be like a really big thing for you. So it was having that support and having somebody else, definitely not push me, but help me trust myself was really, really big, because I was like full of doubt and fear. And then as I started to really continue to own being a projector, I was able to step into that space more and more and make it my full-time business. So when I was pregnant with Hendrix, there was lots of like crazy stuff going on, and my blood pressure was actually higher with him, and all of these other elements that factored in. And I was working full time as a teacher still. So I was like, you know what, like I literally like, this is not good. This is not healthy. It's not healthy for me. I was really stressed out with my other girls. And I was just like, oh boy, like this is almost like the ultimate test from the universe being like, are you going to be a projector, or are you going to hustle through this and sacrifice your health and everything else that comes with that? So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna, like, I took a leave at that time, and ensured that I was being the healthiest self that I could be. And I was like, you know what, I gave myself full permission to continue working on my business in whatever capacity I felt was correct and right for me. And that was a really, really, really scary thing to do for me, because I was like, oh my gosh, again, people are going to judge me. People are going to think this, people are going to think that, people aren't going to understand. I don't want to share all of the things, you know, in order to explain it to other people. So they're just going to make assumptions. But then I was like, you know what? Like, I have to give myself what I need. Again, if I don't, I'm going to be unhappy. I'm going to be unhealthy. Everything is going to suffer. And not just at like the end of the world, but like literally, like I was. And my kids, if you're a mom, you know that like they thrive off of you, you know? So if I'm stressed, they're going to be stressed. And everything that I know about energy and human design literally was like, yeah, you're either in or you're out in that moment. And I was like, okay, I'm in. Deep breath and move forward. And again, listening to my intuition of this is what I know is right. This is what I know is correct for me. And it's time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And you know, even if there's someone out there who's like not necessarily wanting to come out with like human design, but or anything that is like, you know, maybe on the woo-woo side, it just can be so scary regardless. And it doesn't matter what you're scared of, but like giving ourselves the permission to really like step into it. Like, this is what I need. This is what I need. And if I do this for me, it's going to be better for everyone.
Yeah. And I think that's like, that's still something that I struggle with, because I know that there's a lot of people like in my family and close inner circle where like, I know they know what I do, but like people don't talk about it. Right. So it's like, again, like that judgment where it's like, I know they're making assumptions, or I know that they don't understand and that they don't want to bring it up with me. And that has been really hard. But at the same time, I'm like, I need to do what's right for me. You know, I can't live my life being like, oh, this makes you uncomfortable, or you don't know about it, so I shouldn't talk about it. And it's just like, yeah, you have to go with like what your, I would just say your urge or your pull is to be talking about and sharing.
Oh my gosh, yes. And you just celebrated, like, can I say it? Yeah. Your huge milestone of 200K this year and your business. Yes, despite people like, maybe judging you.
Yes. And that's been a big thing too. I'm like, oh, can I talk about money? Right. But it's like, I need to own that. Yes. We have to celebrate it. And it's like the most, again, like most exciting, liberating, freeing thing to be like, I can actually make so much money from being myself, from being my most authentic self, even though X, Y, and Z don't get it, even though blah, blah, blah. Right. Like your circumstances can't hold you back. They should actually like allow you to like break out.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I loved it. I loved it so much. And it's such a huge part, like in entrepreneurship. And Kelly says, congratulations.
Thank you.
Everyone is happy for you. I saw the hearts and everything too. And like, that's the fun thing, that there are people who don't understand and maybe will never understand. And then there are people who are happy for you.
and focusing on the people who are happy for you because you are happy, that's what matters the most.
Yeah. And your service, right? Like, I think you mentioned that a little bit before too, of like, you have to go forward with like knowing that like there's people out there that need to understand their projector so that they can run their business properly. And like, that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to like, to be like, you know, I'm going to hide myself so that you can suffer too. Even though I have like this thing that I could give you, I'm not going to give it to you because like, you know, my mom might feel uncomfortable with what I'm talking about, right? Like,
and oh my gosh, like thanks goodness that you didn't hide yourself, because at the time that I was in your course, my sister was here, and then like really bad things happened in my family, and it was just like all falling on me. And then I was trying to run my business, and if I did not have that like permission and understanding and like sort of like having this visual how I can work with my energy, I would not have gotten out the other way stronger and like standing in my power and standing in my magnetism, and like now, you know, killing it, not to like toot my own horn, but like killing it in the business. You know, because like I would have felt like I am weird. There's something wrong with me. There's something terribly wrong with me if I cannot feel good spending like 24/7 with my sister that I love for like a week, right? Like I would have felt that there was something wrong with me, but because I had you sharing your expertise, I was like, oh, actually, she's a completely different design. Okay, let's work it out. And then I asked you a lot of questions.
Yeah, which is like, so I love that you said that, because like, yeah, we do think something's wrong with us, right? We do all of our designs. We have like this conditioning, which like I like to call the unsexy work, that we need to be aware of so that we can step forward in our power. And it allows you to like you said, like operate and run your business your way, you know, and like, there's no formula for it, but it gives you the confidence to like explore, like, how is this going to work for me? And how do I want it to work for me? Not just like, how should it work? So that you can have fun and that like life can happen around you and like everything isn't going to crumble.
Yes. Okay. So Claire says, oh my gosh, I've been needing to hear all of this. Fear of judgment is tough and can go very deep. It was really cool to see you share your sister's design on the trip and watch you apply it. Yeah. With Amy's help. And, you know, fun thing. So actually, I was just thinking about like who we already had on the Sparkle Summit, and we had Stephanie Schultz, and she is a generator.
Yeah.
And she operates in a certain way. And then we had Taylor Lee, and she's another projector sister, and she operates in a completely different way. And then we had Viola yesterday, and she is a manifester, and she operates in a completely different way. And I just think that, you know, one of the things I wanted to show throughout this summit is that we can all be different. And sometimes the answers are the human design. Sometimes it's just like giving ourselves the permission. But I just love that the human design gives me this like,
yes. It's so true. And it's like, I also want to share that like, before you understand, like, I can only imagine how hard it is for people that don't know human design yet. Because I even find myself comparing still. I'm like, you know, I talked about this in one of my podcasts too, where like Steph was like killing her launch. And I was like, ooh, like she was sharing what she was doing. I was like, cool, I'm just going to do that. And like flatline, like nothing went well for me. And I was like, oh yeah, that's why, because I started doing it like her. Right. So it's again, like it's easy for us to weave back into like, what works for someone else. But really what your focus should be on in your business is like, how do I want to feel? What works for me? And playing with that instead of like getting so like mad at yourself that it's not working.
I love that. Okay. Now for someone who wants to learn their human design, so they can find out basically online for free. There's like a thing, right? For that.
Yes. I always recommend mybodygraph.com.
Okay. So I'm going to post that link below for someone who wants to know that. And then I had another question and I feel like it just like went away. Oh, and now for someone who's like, okay, I am just finding out about my human design. Now I know who I am. Does it mean that I can only work this certain type of people? Does it mean that I shouldn't work with a coach that is a different human design? Like, what would you recommend to someone who's like, I want to do everything right, I want to learn this, I want to like do these things, but like, is this a limitation? Should I be really careful about these things? Like, what would you recommend?
Yeah, no, like obviously everything in human design is to free you, not to limit you. So if you're ever like, I shouldn't do this because of this, because I'm a projector, like, meh, we need to reframe that. So when you're looking to work in programs and with coaches, just be very mindful. And like, this is why your own integration is so important, because like, if you work with a coach that isn't as familiar with human design, totally you can work with them. And like, it's actually it can be a big benefit, because if you're a projector, we, like, any of us absorb the other energy. So if you're working with a manifesting generator, you're going to be fired up, you're going to be excited, like they're going to help you maintain that high vibe. But you just have to be aware of like what's correct for them versus what's correct for you. So if they're like, go for a launch and like do all of these things and blah, 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 and you're like in day 3 and you're like, oh my gosh, I need a break, I'm so exhausted. Give yourself permission to take the break, you know? So you just have to play with everything and like, again, make it mold to you rather than you molding to it. And then as far as like, I forget the other part of that question. So
I think that was it.
I'm like, boop. Okay. Oh my gosh. And
there's no limitations.
There's no limitations. The only limit would be like understanding what you can and can't do. So example, when Kate was doing Pinterest Perfect, I was like, tell me about this. And she's like, blah, 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 with all of the program. And I was like, I can't do this. I was like, that's too much. I don't have the capacity to like take any time to do this, to be in your program. What can you offer me? Like basically. And so I sent her an invitation and she's like, well, you can be, I can take over your Pinterest for you and do it all for you. I was like, done. Like, let me pay in full. Tell me how, send me the things now, just take it. So like, I knew I wanted the Pinterest aspect to my business, but I also knew I would not be able to do that to my efficiency, you know, and to the fullest amount that it could be done. So again, seeking support and like knowing like what you can do and when other people are shining in their light to like go with that.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. And I think where also like understanding at least basics of human design helps me is also knowing that like I sent you that overcomplicated voice message explaining everything. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. She's a projector. She needs it simple and efficient. Okay. Sorry. Just like forget about it, right? When like sometimes I talk to someone who's a different design and they do want all of that clarity, all of that information, and it helps them. So
yes,
it's a fun thing to play with.
Yeah, totally. So if you're in your own business right now, and then like, yeah, you can totally play with like understanding who people are. And if it's so beneficial, if you like have a client, you're like, I know they're a generator, so they need to be really lit up by what they're doing and passionate and obsessed with it. Like it just helps you guide people in the right way. That's again, correct for them, not necessarily what worked for you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We can all be who we are.
Yes.
Okay. So is there something in your mind right now that you feel like it was an important part of your story, it was an important pivot that would help someone who is listening right now, something that we didn't address?
Yeah, definitely the fear of money. I think that's a really big one because, yeah, I don't even talk about that much, but like when you had brought that up, it's like, I was like, I know that I'm doing the right thing, but I also was intuitively very guided to the people that I worked with. So it wasn't just like some like random thing. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to throw money here. Right. So it was like a big leap for me to do that, but also felt very correct. So be very aligned with who you work with and what you're investing in. And then also knowing that like, yeah, like your business, you need to invest before you make money. And I always think of it like when I made a really big investment of like schooling, and like I had no problem putting $20,000 towards teachers college, right? Because I was like, oh, I'm going to make that back. But looking at like investing in even Melanie's 1-to-1, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like so crazy. This is so like foolish, but in reality, like, look what happened, right? Like I'm now at 200K for the year. And like, I never ever was like, this is what I have to be at. And this is what I'm working towards. It was like, just trust yourself to to be making the decisions that are right for you. And money is always going to be a factor in that. And when you make it more than what it actually is, that's when you make those wrong decisions. When you let it be, okay, I trust myself. This sounds wild and doesn't make any sense, but I trust myself to go with it. Then that's when you're going to have those results where you're like, what just happened? Like, how did this happen? Where you can't even explain it.
Yes.
And then I feel like another big part is just like, really like, yeah, I doubted myself. I did not have the confidence. I did not like feel like I could do this. Like literally like 2 years ago, me would have been like, what are you talking about? Like that's not your life, you know, like that's not what you're meant for. So really to like take the time to get to know yourself and really tap into your desires. And I never, ever, ever explored my desires. You know, I was never like, what do I really want in life? Well, you know, I want freedom. I want flexibility. I want time with my kids. I want to be home snuggling and working. You know, I also really want to work and I really want to make a lot of money. But I never, ever, ever explored those until I started life coaching. So let yourself like literally ask yourself those questions and go into it. And then ask yourself, like, am I supporting my desires? And if you're not, I guarantee you're not where you want to be right now.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Yes, we can actually ask ourselves, like, what do I want? What do I desire? And it all changes from there. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, now, Amy, everyone is like obsessed with you. They're in love with you. And probably they want to be like me and be like, okay, how can I get into the space of Amy Allchurch, the human design expert? I want to throw money at her. I want to join something with her. What do you got going on right now that people could join if it feels aligned for them?
So yeah, thank you. If you're a manifesting generator, I have a program called Money, Magnetism, Sex, and Power, MMP. And it's all about tapping into your energy as a sacral. So you guys have the sacral energy. So it's really activating your magnetism, increasing your money when you tap into that, your power and your trust in yourself, through pleasure, through fun, through excitement. So if you're a manifesting generator and you're like doubting yourself and you feel like you're an imposter and you feel like, you know, you're like one person and then another person inside your head, come ask me some questions about it. We actually start tomorrow officially. So we've done free work. I have like ongoing programs for each design type. So I just completed Projector Power Paradigm round 2. You were in round 1, and I'll have that going again in 2020 at some point. I have a Manifestor 1, which will be launching soon, starting in January.
Ooh!
Yeah, some more.
So I'm sure she's happy to hear that.
Yeah, I know. I had an interview with her yesterday, and she's like, "Can I just give you my money now?"
I love it.
And then I have some really cool things coming for coaches that are wanting to integrate human design. And then I have somebody on my team that does foundational reading. So if you don't even know if like you're new to human design, Libby Hoffman on my team does your foundational human design reading. She's incredible, so beautiful, and does such a gorgeous job of it. So if you just want to know, like, who am I? Like, what does this mean? You can book with her too.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. Awesome. And for those of you who are here and you're listening and you're like, okay, I want all of it, I'm going to share all the links that needs to be shared.
Amazing.
And if someone is not quite ready to jump on to like your offers, maybe they want to just like learn a little bit more, if you know something about human design, maybe about you, where can they find you?
So various places. You can find me on Instagram, Amy Allchurch, on Facebook, Amy Allchurch, my Facebook private group, Aligned by Design, and my podcast, Aligned by Design. And then my website is also Amy Allchurch. And if you have any questions, because there's a lot of stuff, just send me a message, and I'm so happy to like ask you what you're looking for and direct you in the right direction. So yeah, just find me.
One thing I want to say that Amy shares so much value in her free group and on her podcast is incredible. So even if you just want like bits and pieces, that is definitely like you want to put yourself in those groups.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you.
Oh, this was so freaking incredible. For anyone who is watching right now, like I know you get so much value. I am mind blown. I am freaking mind blown.
And mamas, you can do it. You can do it your way. Like that's the thing. Like your business can be operated your way. Like I let Kate know. I was like, Hendrix is gonna be on me, by the way. So
yeah,
it's just what's happening.
And the fun thing is like I am so happy that, little baby Hendrix was here. He gave us all the energy. And that's the thing. Like, if one thing that, anyone can take from this is you can do it. Whether you're a mom, you're pregnant, you have a newborn, if you want to, you can do it. Just get yourself the right support, and it's possible. And if that's not what you desire, then don't push yourself. If it is what you desire, go for it. If we can, we all can.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you so much, everyone who's been watching. There's so many of you. I see you. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.